Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the More Money Show comes in. If you're ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of More Money. I am your host, Cassie Parks, and today I'm here with Kate Kretzinger, who is a certified nutrition coach and Enchanted Circle member for 34 days so far. This is day 34. I am so excited. Kate, welcome. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to do this too.
Me too.
I don't know if I can control my giggling.
That's okay. Listen to Manifest It Now, they know, giggling is
yes. Yes.
So fun. And I'm excited to talk to Kate. Like, I describe Kate like she's fierce. Like, she's one of the, that's who she is. And I love being in that presence. I love watching you grow. And so let's jump into it. I'm excited.
Awesome. Okay, let's do it. Me too.
So I always start here. What's awesome right now?
Oh, so many things are awesome right now. Obviously, the nice weather. I live in New England. We never have nice weather, and it's like 80 degrees today. So I'm really excited.
Awesome.
Yeah. And the fact that I'm in such a wonderful group of women called the Enchanted Circle, I love that. And that's just been going amazing. And my business is growing, which we'll talk more about.
Yes, for
so
sure.
Really excited.
I know. I am so excited too. I love hearing all the cool things. So just as a reminder, so Kate at this point, she's doing the Year of Growth series. She's been in for 34 days, which is super exciting. Yeah. And so I'm going to ask you, how much money did you manifest in your first 31 days of Manifest 10K?
$9,851.93.
So awesome.
It is awesome. I wasn't aware that was 34 days. Yes. So that's just amazing.
That's cool. How does it feel?
It feels, I always say, I guess, unreal is kind of because time, that's just such a big factor in a lot of the things that we do nowadays. And we try not to, to focus on that because then it slips through your fingers kind of thing. And so to me, it was like when we talked about that, I was like, oh my gosh, it's only been 30 days. Where'd the time go? That's crazy. I love it. It feels amazing. I feel, excited. And that's my word. That's what my abundance feeling is excited. And I'm definitely feeling that. So
good. Yay. Yeah. And I know we did some work. It took us a little bit to get there, right?
Yes, it did. Yeah.
We might talk more about that later. So first I want to ask this because I'm excited to hear the story. How did you find me? How did we connect? Because these are my favorite stories.
I love this. So I've always been a big fan of, like LOA and like Esther Hicks and Dwayne Dyer and them. And it was funny. I was listening to the Primal podcast, Primal Endurance, and I believe it was Ginny that was on that day. Yeah. And I really loved it. I was like, oh, I love this LOA stuff. And she had mentioned that you and her have the Manifest It Now. So I instantly stopped the podcast, looked for you guys, and went on a binge. I listened to you guys all the time. And then for some reason, I was resonating more with you because you were talking about your More Money podcast on there. So I was like, oh, well, let me find that. And so I downloaded that and went on a binge with that too. And I was at a point in my business where it spoke true to me because I was working hard, and had to work harder to get more. And that's not why I came in to be an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. And so it was against everything the reason why I came over out of the corporate world. Mm-hmm. And so when I started listening to you just spoke to me and everything you were saying, I was like, oh, she's talking to me. She wrote these, she did these podcasts for me. So that's how I found you. And then I bought your books and read all of them. I was so gung-ho. I think I read all 4 of them within, 4 or 5 days. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to jump in and do them all. And I just felt so overwhelmed. I was like, how am I going to do all this? And so I think I contacted you shortly at that point and talked about what the process was and where to start. And in the midst of that, I had two friends that wanted to join.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of waiting for them. And then I just was like, I can't do this anymore. And I think exactly to the month, almost to the day after I contacted you, I ended up signing up. And
yes.
Yeah. So I just love it. I was like, oh, it's meant to be.
It's so meant to be. I love it. And when you know, right? That's what I tell people. Like, when it's the right time, like you just do it. There's like, you decide not to wait on anybody else. You decide not to wait on anything else. And you do it. Yeah.
And that's how it happened. Cause I was talking to my husband about it and I couldn't stop talking about it. So he's at LOA too. He loves that stuff. So,
love that.
So he started doing it with me. And then I was like, I want to understand this more. And he's like, just sign up with her. And, and he just kept saying that to me, just sign up with her. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that. I didn't need to hear it anymore.
Right?
It was awesome.
Oh, I love that. What was, if you remember, what was the biggest aha when you read Manifest 10,000?
The biggest aha was, my money story, because I think, and it's interesting. And all of this is, I love synchronicities.
Yes.
A lot of the stuff that you're teaching us is I teach my clients as a health coach and a nutrition coach. And, it's kind of like what you say, the life the story that you tell today is the life you're going to live tomorrow. And I love that quote. And it's so true. And, and I was in that moment with my business. So, and I was like, okay, I got to figure out why. And it's funny is there's still a book sitting on my bookshelf and it's called Worth It.
Uh-huh.
And I bought that, I think, a year ago when it first came out, maybe 2 years ago. And it talks about your money story. I never opened up the book. And I think it was because I knew I needed to do that, but I just wasn't ready. And I think even now working with you, we're still digging more into that and I'm uncovering it even more. Yeah. And it's like layers of an onion, I just keep peeling back more and more. More and more. So for me, it was that, I think I knew a while ago, I think that's why I bought the book, but I never opened it. But I think it really rang true when I read Manifest 10K. Absolutely.
Love that. So, and you don't have to get into specifics, but this just popped into my mind. And I think it's such a good, because I always say, like, we can't go after the story and just start changing the story. You have to go through the Manifest 10K process. And then what you need to change comes up. And so feel free, like, you don't have to give specifics, but I would love if you shared a little bit about how going through each step, it does bring up what needs to be healed, shifted, changes, anything like that, versus just going straight for what people think might need to be fixed, right?
Yeah, and I think that's why you call me fierce, because that's what I do. I go after it and I give it my all, right?
Yes.
And I just don't give up. And I think that it really rang true on our assignment when we had to forgive ourselves for money things. And it just kept coming up and kept coming up. And you kept pinging me back and saying, is it this or is it this? Or maybe it's not something I'm mentioning. Maybe it's a little deeper. And it kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And it was definitely, and this just happened Monday night, a couple of nights ago. And I still have to sit with those feelings, and it's honoring those feelings is what you and Ginny always say. And I love that. And I always tell that to my clients too, but it's easier to say it than to actually do it. And it was uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is the best way that I could explain that. And, but since then, I feel like a bunch has lifted off my shoulders, and so it's definitely changed me, who I am. And it's funny because I found even the day after, I was kind of in a little funk after that, because I know a little bit about how we like to be our bodies are used to being down at a certain vibration, and I was a little higher, and it's like, what are you doing up here? You're supposed to be down here. So I don't know if that makes sense, but I was in a little bit of a funk the next day after that. And, but I still felt really light, if that makes sense too. Yeah,
absolutely. I love that. It's so important. Like, it's just important. And it was a good opportunity to share that. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Let's see. So what would you say is the biggest difference in your life so far as a result of being in the Enchanted Circle?
Learning how to let go of controlling things. My background is I'm a sales rep. And so we're taught to go after everything. I wasn't your car salesman pushy, but we hunted for stuff. We hunted for, the jobs. We hunted for us to sell our product. And so I've always had that mentality, and that's how I was trained. So that's something I've always carried forward with me. And that's controlling the how, really, is doing it that way. So I had to unlearn like 15, gosh, no, I'm older than that. So 20 years of sales. I had to unlearn, and I'm still unlearning. I still find myself sometimes catching me doing the how, but still I'm doing better at it.
Yes.
So much better. But I still want to do it sometimes. I'm like, no, but if I go do this.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. And I love that you always just come back, right? Because it's, even if you do go get it, like, it's just learning, and then we just relearn that we don't have to, go after the how.
Yeah. And that's why I love having you there, and you have that gentleness about you. And sometimes I just need, like not a slap in the face, but it's like, hello, what are you doing, kind of thing. And, and you're just so gentle about it, and just, hey, is this really what you're supposed to be doing? Is this, how you want to look at it? And I just love that. I just love it. It's just awesome.
It's awesome.
It is awesome.
Yeah. So tell it. So I always love to get this question. What was your old money story?
That there was never enough. Yep.
Yeah. And do you feel like the new story has a title yet, or do you just kind of know the chapters and what's happening in it?
I just kind of know that I do want it to be the very opposite of that there's always more than enough. That's what I want it to be. And, and I feel that I'm getting there. It's kind of like those layers of the onions that we were talking about, just peeling them back. And changing, because what am I, 43 years old, changing that whole story, I know it took time to get there, and it's going to take time to get there as well. And I feel that I've made a lot of progress in these 34 days, and jumping into a new person is uncomfortable, and learning how to sit with that is a good learning experience, because I've always been one to always do something to kind of not be in that uncomfortableness. And it's great to just sit with it and feel it, like you say. Yeah.
I love that. Switching gears again, I just want to because I love hearing perspective, and I know that people listening always want to hear, what's it like to be in a group coaching program?
Oh, I love a group. I love individual, but I love group. I always say it takes like a community to heal, you know? I'm a big believer in that. And I think that, you can do a lot one-on-one, but when you hear and you can connect with all the other people that are in our group, it just makes you feel like you're not alone, it just validates that. And I think that's really what we need, is validation and that sense of connection. And you get that when you're in a group, especially this group. It's just awesome. And the fact that there's no judging is even better, that's just amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love it. So we know the money total, what other cool things have happened in your life since you've joined the Enchanted Circle?
I find that I view things a lot differently. I'm a big believer, even in my, the health coaching that I do, I always say everything's connected in our life. And I've noticed that the energy that I'm giving out, and I've always known that whatever we put out, we get back. I get that, and I know that. And I'm more aware of it now than ever. And I always feel that every time I go to work on something, I'm become more and more aware every time. And this is just making me that much more aware. And the energy that I'm getting, I'm getting clients reaching out to me through my website, and I've never had that happen before. So this is awesome.
Awesome.
It is awesome. And I was like, I'm not even advertising right now, because I'm trying to switch everything to online. And everybody's reaching out to me. I'm like, oh, this is just awesome. It is awesome. I'm like, I'm not even working hard, and people are reaching out to me.
Yes,
So,
I love that.
I love it too.
Yeah.
And the cool thing too is, I'm not sure which one, maybe it was Double Your Business, that book. When I was reading it, you had talked about what we want our day to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And my day is now starting without me even physically doing it or consciously doing it. It is starting to look like how I want it to look. Right down to, I don't want to start before 11 o'clock. All my clients have now finished with me their first session, and now all my days are open before 11 o'clock. I was like, this is amazing.
Right?
This is just amazing. And I never knew that until about a month ago when I read the book, so it's awesome how it's just all falling into place and effortlessly. That's what I love about it, is that it's effortlessly.
Yes, I love that. And so I'm going to ask this question because
Sure.
You had read, 4 books. You showed them before when we got started. And so you'd read them, you had started scripting. And when you came into the group, I said, let's just put a hold on scripting, which I think is weird for people to hear me say that. I'm like, pause that and let's focus on Manifest 10K. And then I'll teach you how to really script. And we'll do that, right? Mm-hmm. And so what were the first thoughts? I'm just curious. We actually haven't talked about this. What were the first thoughts when I said that and asked you to do that, right?
I was almost panicked for 2 reasons. It's so funny for 2 reasons, because I think the reason why you asked me to do it, which, like you said, we haven't talked about it yet, is I was kind of controlling the how, right?
Yeah.
But it also made me happy and excited. It made me feel good. It made me feel peaceful. And that's why I loved doing it. So then when you said to put that on hold, I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? and then I think it was 2 days after you said that, the exercise to make our vision board came up. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, this is my tool. This is what I need to use now. Yes. And so I used that in its place. And it was very, very beneficial to do it that way too, because once I stopped, I started getting clients.
It was so funny. Yeah, it is so funny because, and it's a huge, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to add to that too. So when I was scripting, I did start a group session. I've been moving things over to group sessions too. And I did start a group session, and I got 5 people to sign up. Mm-hmm. And that's always a start for me. I have to have at least 5 people. Mm-hmm. And I had my other group session beforehand of 10 people were just coming to an end. And that energy and the vibe in that group session was amazing. Loved it. And I was hoping that they were all going to be like that. Well, this one, I got 5 in it. Mm-hmm. And they, 3 of them dropped out after the first 2 weeks. And, and then the other 2 of them dropped out, and then now there's 3, and they don't even interact with each other on their private Facebook group. And I was like, what is going on? And I even prompted them, and they were not doing it. And so I was sitting there at the end of the day talking to my husband about it. He goes, well, what would you do differently? And I said, well, I know it was due to the scripting that I was doing. It was in desperation. And I think it was the wrong kind of energy I was putting out. Yeah. And this new group that I started with 8 or 9 people in it, another new group that I started, these guys are like, so many amazing things are happening in here. And that was because I let go of the scripting. I let go of the how. Yes. So it was funny to see that. And I love that I can share that stuff with my husband. He doesn't look at me like I have 3 heads. Like, what are you talking about? Because he gets it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome.
And I love that. I mean, that fact, that's one of my favorite things about the group and about you in particular is like everybody brings something that's awesome. And I've heard it more than once. On the call, it's like somebody would be like, that's evidence for me. I want to have those discussions with my husband, right? I'm attracting a partner that we can talk about that. And so that's the other cool thing about being in a group and just what everybody gives, like you just give by being you, right? Like showing up and sharing like, yeah, I do this with my husband, and everybody else gets to take that as evidence that wants it as evidence. And so
I love that. Yeah, I still love that. And I love that we're there for ourselves, and we're not there we are there to, I shouldn't say help other people, because we are, by telling our story and telling what's going on with us. But we just need to be present. And I love that, coming from a coach too, where we always have to be on. I get that. And so turning that coach off and just being present is awesome. I love it.
Yeah. It's so cool.
Yeah,
And
it is
I
cool.
just, yeah, it's awesome. I want to go back just a little bit to the scripting and talk a little bit about that. Cause, um, I think it's, people finally find it interesting that I say stop, but I knew it was controlling the how, and I could feel that energy. Right. And it's one of those things that when we focus on one thing and we're upping our being, right? So if we're focusing on manifest 10K, we're working on being the person who has 10,000 more dollars, right? That's going to attract those clients. And I remember asking you like, what, and I said, you're just going to be that. We're going to trust that this is enough, right? Which is a huge lesson that you're going to you get to take that lesson because you did it, and you're
right.
gonna, it'll grow, right? Because now you're like, okay, I don't have to do all this. I don't have to control it, which I love. And so how did it feel to just like get those clients from not sort of controlling that how with your script?
Oh, yeah. That was like the best feeling. I mean, and that's just something, it's almost like euphoric. It felt good. It felt right. Whereas, like when I was scripting and I got those 5 into the group, I was like, okay, box checked, move on. It was not sit and appreciate it kind of thing. And these ones I can, which is just awesome because I'm trusting the process. And it's not easy all the time. It's not, as you guys always say, rainbows and was it sunshine and rainbows or sunshine and roses? It's not like that. There it is. It's not all like that, and knowing that that's okay. So it's letting go of the control again is what it really comes down to. Yeah. It was just awesome.
I love it. And I love when things happen so fast. Like I knew that would happen, right? Because I have enough trust, I knew, but like it was so instant. I was like, yes.
It was, I think, honestly, I think it was like 2 days.
Yeah.
I believe it was 2 days. If I remember correctly, it was 2 days. And I was like, man, and it hasn't stopped, like I've got, 3 new people tomorrow that I'm doing health histories with. And I do health histories. It's just kind of like an interview that they interview me, I interview them. And if we're a good fit, then we can work together. And so I've got 3 more tomorrow and I had 2 yesterday. I mean, so it's just awesome. They just keep coming, and it's just, and I asked them how they find me. So I don't know how these 3 are finding me, but the other ones they found on my website, and it's just great. I'm not even pushing towards my website right now. So I think that's just awesome.
It is awesome. Like it's so awesome. And I love it because anyone listening can take that, right? And I say this all the time. It's like people think I need to change the website and I'm a little bit different now. I need to change the website. I need to do this. No, like when you change who you are, they just show up from your website, right?
It's so true. So true. And it's funny because just before I met you, I was saying the same thing about my pamphlet that I give out. I was like, I got to change my pamphlet. I've got to do this. I got to do that. And I've ran out of pamphlets since, and I haven't done them.
That's awesome.
They're still not done. So yeah, it's really effortlessly. And that's how I know that it's the right thing, is that I'm not working as hard, because I had filled my time slots. And I'm sure you probably witnessed or experienced this when you first started. There's only so many hours in a day, and I see my clients for an hour, and I was filling, my 8 hours with clients, and it's like, okay, well, now there's only 10 minutes in between each client to have my lunch, go to the bathroom, get a drink,
right.
Those kind of things. So I was doing that every day. And I said, okay, this is not why I came to do this, And so that's when I switched from one to many, and switching over to that's what I started doing at the beginning of this year. And it's coming along like really fast, and I love it. I love it.
Yes.
Bring it on.
I know. I love it. I love it. What would you say is the biggest mindset change so far?
The biggest mindset, gosh, there's been a lot, but the biggest one I would say is, learning how to, know that I can't change the past, right? And move forward. Yeah. And not that the past doesn't mean anything. Right. Not that it hasn't made me who I am. It's just learning how to say, okay, you know what? That's already happened. Let's move on and let's make it how you want to make it now, because we are the creators of our life and our story. And I don't want to relive the past. I want to create new, exciting things. So that mindset was really big for me, really big.
Awesome. I love
Yeah.
it. So, we're only 34 days in. What are you looking forward to as you grow over the next year?
Oh, more of this and more of being a part of this community. Right now, I can't see myself without this community. I love how we cheer each other on and how, I just give each other a pat on the back and celebrate together. That to me is just amazing. And I just want to continue with that. It's not about the money and it is, but it isn't. Mm-hmm. I shouldn't say it's not about the money. Of course, we need money to survive and pay bills and to do that. But, it's enjoying being in the moment with all these women. And it's just amazing that we're all together, not just women, there's men too. But we're all together and going through this together and watching each other grow. And I just love that. I don't ever want that to go away. Yes. You can't go anywhere.
I'm here.
Good. Or I'm taking you and moving you in with me. So either way.
I have to say, I saw your address and I was like, oh man, of course I love her. Like she lives in Nashua and that's like an instant reference to The Office. I'm like, oh yes.
That is awesome. I love that show. Yeah. So you're going to have to come visit.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. I'm not that far from Boston, so we can go into Boston. I know you have a friend down there too, right?
Yeah.
So we could go down to Boston too.
Cool. Yeah. I love that. Awesome. I love it. I'm so excited for what's next. I can't even wait for the next interview because I know it's going to be amazing. Like what happens in the next 4 to 6 weeks is going to be awesome. So
it sure is.
So good. Thank you for doing this. Do you have any?
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, I do want to share how people can connect with you.
Oh, yeah. So I'm on all kinds of social media, and I know you don't do all those, but I do. You can find me on Instagram and on Facebook at K8 for Wellness, and that's the letter K, the number 8, the number 4 Wellness. And my website is the same. It's K8forwellness.com. Spelled out the same way. Yeah.
Awesome. So if you want to connect with Kate, definitely do that. K8forwellness.com. Any final thoughts, words of advice?
I just say, you know what, if there's ever any doubt, like that you feel like you're stuck or you want to grow more. I mean, I don't know who doesn't want to grow more. Mm-hmm. I say, you got to sign up with Cassie if you haven't done it already. I think it's funny because I always write down every day what I'm grateful for, and you are one of those people. And it's just amazing. I love it. Just absolutely love it. I feel like I'm home. It's just amazing. So I find that, we can do it on our own, but I think we do much better when we do it with someone else. And I believe coaches need coaches. So I would recommend it to everybody. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Love it.
Yay. Well, thank you for being here. And
thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. Next time, make sure to tune into Kate's next interview and keep up with the More Money Show. If you want to connect with Kate, you can go to K8forwellness.com and check her out. Thanks for coming. And thanks to everyone for listening.
Thank you for joining us on the More Money Show. To learn how to identify your current money story, go to identifyyourmoneystory.com.